Welcome back to Straight Facts. It's Wednesday. I'm joined by Judge Mo, the brilliant Husam. And let me just stop all proceedings by, first of all, genuinely offering congratulations to Husam, who is now a happily engaged man to be wed. So congratulations to you, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate it. He got me the engagement is this Friday. I don't know how to translate it from Arab terms to English terms, but yes. I announced it yesterday because of the head loss, but yeah.
He's becoming a man.
Mo, don't act surprised. You knew this before anyone else. Big up, Mo.
He's becoming a man.
Yeah, I have one message for your future new beautiful lady wife. Be gentle with him. Be gentle with him. He's still a boy, so be gentle with him. But congratulations, mate. Brilliant news indeed. Loads to talk about on the show today. We're looking at some transfers, including Man United, Arsenal, and Spurs, looking at Brian Mbeumo. Arsenal seen as the lead in that potential deal as it stands. We're going to be touching on Zubimendi and getting Husam's reaction on the terrace, previewing the North London derby. But first, we're going to start by talking about. Actually, I'm going to go to Super Chat first because it got my attention. Shows a lack of class and humility. No apologies for being late. I am sorry that we were late today. I was waiting for my kids to get back from school. I had to do something with them. So my apologies. Sean, I should have mentioned it, but I didn't. I apologize. You are right to say that. I want to start with last night's games. And I know we obviously spoke about Liverpool last night with you, Husam, and we touched on the situation with City. I did want to start the show by talking a bit about Chelsea because I feel like the conversation around them has become a little bit quiet in recent days and weeks. No win in 5 Premier League games and a pattern emerging in the majority of them. Start dominantly. They've scored first on a number of occasions, but then collapsed and failed to win. And no win in 5. It's not a good look right now. It does feel like a bit of a mini crisis for Chelsea and Enzo Maresca.
I'm going to pull rank here. I would suggest that Mo start off this section. Because okay. I think he should speak on this one first because he's the one that requested to talk about Chelsea specifically. So I feel like he has something really massive to bring to the table when it comes to this conversation. So I want to hear what he has to say because I'm curious because I feel like he's going to drop a bomb or say something mad.
The Maresca's being found out. It's simple. We praise the guy. He's being found out.
I know my brother. I know him.
I spoke about it this morning. He's being found out. He's very stubborn. I thought the guy would adapt. I thought the guy would drop the stubbornness after a brilliant start of the season. He's being found out. Every Chelsea fan, Jackson should have scored. Okay. Chelsea fans assume that Jackson would have all these chances every game. And if Chelsea doesn't score, they accept the loss or they accept the point. No, that football doesn't work like this. Stop being naive. Football doesn't work like this. Italians said always, you defend first. This is why we say best defense always win the league. Because it doesn't mean that if you miss chances, you accept that you drop points. And he has to understand this. He has to learn. And he's learning on the job, but he's being stubborn. Cole Palmer, Enzo Fernandez, and Caicedo or Lavia by themselves in the middle doesn't work. Go back to play Palmer on the right side. It's very simple. Nobody's going to accuse you that you are, you're copying Pochettino. Who cares, bro? Just play Cole Palmer on the right side. Tightening your defense. Your defenders are not that good. He started the season very well. And he played double pivot sometimes. You remember with Lavia and Caicedo, we said they are very good together. But now because he's injured, find the solution, my friend. You find the solution. It is not on us. And we are telling you, we have a solution for you. Play double pivot. You're being open every time at Team Ipswich. Fulham. Now yesterday, again, who did they play yesterday? Bournemouth yesterday. You're wide open. Second half, you completely got dominated in the second half. Stop being stubborn. Go back to basics. Tightening your defense. Your defense is not good. And this is Chelsea fans. The problem with Chelsea fans, and I'm going to say this to all the Chelsea fans. You guys know that there is a problem. 1 win in 5 or no wins in 5. You got 3 points out of 15 in the last 5 games. And you guys are being stubborn because Husam put it in your head. with the pot shout thing. They put it in their heads, bro. Husam. Nobody wants to say that Maresca is making mistakes. Not a lot of them are being stubborn. No, he's gonna go back to the brilliant football he played. No, you have to admit that he's making mistakes. Don't do the Arsenal
Why
thing.
do you think my opinion will influence their opinion?
Yeah,
That's the
baby,
thing that
you influence them. You and then Lewis and then everyone went and said, "Oh, we're gonna get against Husam." Husam said,
okay, so you're basically saying they don't want to criticize Maresca because they
don't want
made the point that Poch was at
they will
fault
look like they will look like fools. They think they will look like fools. Don't do the Arsenal thing. And I'm telling you, the last thing I'm gonna say before Husam comes in.
No, you don't have to say the last thing.
Don't do the Arsenal thing. Don't be like Arsenal fans and start criticizing Maresca early. Adi, he needs to feel pressured. He needs to feel pressured. Adi, it's okay. People have to accept that they can criticize their coach. Why is everyone thinking that I can't criticize my coach? You can. We started criticizing Arteta. I'm not an Arsenal fan. Like an Arsenal fan, like, now, why do you criticize Arteta? Yeah, Habibi, criticize Arteta. Adi. Criticize Maresca. It's okay. It's okay. This is Chelsea Football Club. It's not Maresca Football Club. It's not Arteta Football Club. It's not Arne Slot Football Club. You criticize him when the criticism is warranted. No wins in 5 is a mini crisis for you, especially because the start of the season. If Newcastle win today, they go ahead of you. You were saved by Man City not winning yesterday. You were saved by Man City. It's a mini crisis, as Terry said. Many crises. And I have to say that this guy is still young. He's a young manager. He's an upcoming manager, yes. And Chelsea fans need to stay behind him, but also criticism is warranted. Just criticize the guy. I'm not saying that Enzo Fernandez is not good and everything. He has been your best player, but it's on your manager to find a solution. And it's a mini crisis. And I'm looking at the Chelsea team. You are in danger if you continue like this of losing in the top 4 or top 5. Losing in the top 4 and the top 5. And you have to understand this, that nobody is safe. Nottingham Forest are not going anywhere. We saw that yesterday. Newcastle are up and coming. They are on the run. And you know Man City. Imagine at the end you don't make the top 4 or the top 5. And after this brilliant start, you miss on top 5 and you miss on Champions League. And you win the Conference League and next season you play Europa League.
Do you actually think that's a genuine possibility though?
Yeah, wallahi, 100%. If you continue like this, Newcastle keep winning. Nottingham Forest are not going anywhere. City start winning games again. They get Omar Marmoush. That centre back gets integrated. Now Chelsea find themselves 6th. And they are climbing the ladder, trying to get back to 4th or 3rd or something. After we've been talking about Chelsea in a title race, because that is out 5 games is a lot of time.
Can I just jump in for a second here?
Yeah.
I think they are in a crisis. I want to ask a question about when you say,
"Wow, you both think this."
Hang on. Yeah, I think they're in. I think they're in a little crisis right now. Okay, no win in 5 for any member of the traditional top 6, I believe, is a crisis. No winning any of us at any point in the last decade, 2 decades,
except
2.5 decades.
Because
even Spurs.
He said top 5. He said top 5.
No, I did say top 6, but even Spurs, no win in 5, I still think it's a bit of a crisis. Okay. The only element I don't agree with is, okay, I do and I don't. Terminology. When you say found out, a lot of people assume you mean that Maresca is never going to find a way to improve this Chelsea team. That's not what you mean, is it?
No.
Okay.
I mean, the tactics that he played, the way he set up the midfield and the way he set up the defense, there is an anti-Maresca tactics now. Every manager, his tactics can be found out. We said that Pep now, without Rodri being found out. That doesn't mean they cannot recover. They can recover if he changes his tactics. When I say found out, means that your tactics been discovered. There is the anti-tactics. You need to find a solution now. You need to change. That is called found out.
See, I look at Chelsea and think it's the element here. By the way, I'm not drinking gin, people. This is literally sparkling water. I put a bit of lemon in it. I'm drinking a lot of water at the moment because I'm training, and I just wanted something with a bit more flavor to it. So I went and got a knife and cut up some lemon. That's all. But I feel like with Chelsea, I think it's personnel. Like yesterday, Lavia goes off. They started to really leak. They obviously conceded the penalty, but without him, it's a problematic. With a better striker than Jackson, who I still think is good. I still think could be a good part of a squad. But they need better than him as an example. I almost feel as though I think some of his substitutions are wrong. He's left them too late, and he's been rightfully criticised for that. But I do think there's a bit of an ideology battle going on here. At a smaller scale, but the same principle of what's happening with Arsenal. When Arsenal got knocked out of the weekend, I would say 80% of the people having the violently loud debate about he should have gone, no, give him more time, only care about being right or wrong about their opinion. Where I think the 20% of them are just having it because they think it's important. The vast majority of Arsenal fans want to discuss what's right moving forward rather than trying to win a debate. And I think there's a loud group of Chelsea fans who every time they've won a match in the last couple of months, they post a picture at where at this stage they were with Poch, how much better they are without Poch. Now that it's kind of gone a little bit pear-shaped in a short period of time, they're now being called out by a different group of fans who didn't want Poch gone, who are now saying, well, there's only 5 points difference between the two 5 or 6 points difference between the two managers at this stage of the season. You said, and I'm pointing fingers here at Chelsea fans, you said that you only gave Poch 3 strikes, and you gave him 3 strikes for these 3 things. Maresca has done those same 3 things, and you've given him those strikes. Why is the energy different? So I think that isn't helping Chelsea, though. I don't believe those conversations are going to make Chelsea a better footballing team. What has let them down in the last 5 games?
That's not going to change, though, Terry.
Yeah, but we can
that
still call
specific
it out
conversation will not change.
Behavior.
No. Let me tell you why that conversation will not change. Yesterday, I saw a viral clip of Chelsea Fan TV. Big up Fatur, who also watches the stream.
Yeah,
I think big up Fats. He's been on the channel as well before.
Yeah, I've met him face to face. Been in studio. Good guy.
Yeah. He was having an argument with one of the guys, and the other guy was basically saying, "Don't you dare make excuses because last season under Pochettino, you didn't give him that excuse." So like, this is where I kind of agree with what Mo's saying. There is one side of the argument where essentially they've turned on Poch so bad that they don't want to say anything negative about Maresca because they have to back him until like the wheels completely fall off. Or the other side of the argument is the ones who didn't want Poch gone, who didn't believe in Maresca for the first 5, 6, 7, 8 games were proven wrong. And now that shit has hit the fan, they kind of went like, yo, maybe we should have kept Poch. Now, here's where I'm going to be balanced in this argument. I'm going to solve the problem for the Chelsea fans. Chelsea fans, don't be a bunch of idiots. You're already stupid last season. Don't be stupid again this year, please. Don't do the same thing that you did last year with Pochettino. You come do it with Maresca. Don't do this. You have seen enough signs this year for you to back the manager. I know this is difficult, Chelsea fans. I know you find it really hard to back your manager and actually get behind someone who isn't a player on the pitch. You find it really difficult, but you have to back your manager. Back Enzo Maresca because he's given you enough signs to back him, because he's given you enough reason to back him. You have enough evidence from the beginning of the season to back him and see that literally like midway through the season, you all thought that there's a chance, big up Andrew and others, there's a chance of you winning the league. Not that you should win it, but there is a chance of you winning the league. People thought that. And there is no reason for anyone to think that about Chelsea this season, but people thought that for good reason. So that's why I think there are way too many positive signs. But I do agree with Mo. This doesn't mean that Maresca is immune to criticism. You can still criticize the guy. You can still say something about the guy. You can still say something negative about the guy. You could still question his substitutions or whatever. But 5 games without a win is a bad look. And some of these games as well, once again, the caliber of opposition matters here. You're not playing Arsenal, Liverpool, City, blah, 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 all in a row, and you're going through on a bad run. No. Ipswich, Fulham, Crystal Palace, Everton, and now Bournemouth at home. That's why you must be worried. The one small caveat I will say is Leicester fans did tell us, and maybe this is something we're slightly at fault for. We are slightly at fault for because maybe we're not that much researched into the world of the Championship. But Leicester fans did tell us second half of the season, Maresca does struggle a little bit. So maybe we should have just listened. But time will tell. Now, let me just end on one point. But I think that point's a really good thing to delve into. So I know you want to end your point, but I think that's where the nervousness is coming from Chelsea fans. Is this a bad patch? Yes.
Or is it, that Jose Mourinho, typically speaking, it was correct that he'd get into that third season, and at some point in that third season, it would fall apart.
Yep.
I think that's a fear for a lot of the Chelsea fans. It's why certain Chelsea fans have not been coming on the match reactions recently. They just want to keep their heads down because they're like, oh God, I gave it the big one. I spoke about doing too much research. I knew this wouldn't happen with my team. And I think there's just a fear. There's no proof it's going to happen yet. But I think there is a fear that, can you imagine if this 5 games goes to 1 win in 10 or 2 wins in 12? This is where it will get a really interesting debate. If in 5, 6, 7 games time, him and Poch are level on points or Poch is ahead of him on points, then I think it can become really toxic because, again, most fans care about getting their opinions right, especially in the social media world, than they do discussing what's best for their football club. And I just feel that the energy is misplaced somewhat.
Do you know the difference between me, you, Terry, and Husam? We rate this team higher than him. That's why he's like, yeah, back the manager. It's okay. Even if you come 5th or 6th, it's okay. That's why Husam is way more calm than us, Terry. You say many crises in your title. I say it's a many crisis. Husam is like, yeah, but you still back the manager. Husam, the difference between us and you is that we rate this Chelsea higher than you. You just don't. You don't rate them as high. So for you, it's all right. They are where they belong. Even if they drop a little bit, who cares? Back the manager and it will come good at some point. That's the difference between us and you.
But here's the thing. Today, Newcastle play Wolves, right? Today, Newcastle play Wolves. If Newcastle beat Wolves, Chelsea are out of the top 4 for the first time probably since the start of the season. Right?
Yes.
So now we will see then the reaction of the Chelsea fans. Do they actually believe in Maresca? Do they believe that Maresca can drag them back to the top 4 and finish where they need him to finish? Or they don't? This is the $1 million question. Now, I've already broke it down exactly what happened with Chelsea. I've given you the honest explanation. Terry's right. This is a war of opinions.
Always.
This is not. No, you're not. No, you're not. This is a war. This is a war of opinions. This is not a war within Chelsea Football Club. I think Todd Bowley and Iqbali will stick with Maresca even if he finishes 6th or 7th. That's the difference, I think, between this and Poch, because this is their guy, 5-year contract, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to the fan base, it's not the same. It's a war of opinions because you've got the ones that didn't want Poch gone, who are now waiting for Maresca to go through 3, 4, 5, 6 bad games in a row to go like, we told you we should have kept Poch. And I'm not going to lie, I might be one of them. You know, even though I'm not a Chelsea fan, but I will bring up that conversation. But when it comes to the other side of the argument, listen, if I'm being fair and balanced, I will say Maresca has shown enough signs. This is not more about me rating them or not. Maresca has shown them enough signs. Just like Ainge has shown us enough signs. When the whole Spurs team is fit, they're not that bad. Like, they're a very, very good team to watch. They're destroying opposition, blah, 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 blah. So there are signs from Ainge. So when it comes to Chelsea, with Maresca, I think you have enough signs for you to stick with him. I don't think there should be conversations about sacking Maresca. But when it comes to personnel, the personnel conversation hasn't changed for me. I think Chelsea can win the league next season. Forget all this BS, regardless where they finish. I think they can win the league this season. But in order for that to happen this summer, you need to give up on this under-21s BS, go sign 3 at least top-class proven players, no need world-class, top-class proven players, and I think you take your team to the
So if Chelsea finish 6, you have the same energy? If Maresca falls off and he repeats the Leicester thing, Adi, next season they can win the league?
Well, for me, personally, I would keep the same energy because their signs are there that they can improve. Just like last season, the signs were there under Poch that they could improve. Both things are true.
Did you believe that they could have won the league this season if they kept Poch?
No, because that...
Why? Do you think Poch is worse than Maresca?
Signings. More, that only happens with signings.
But
what about the manager then? What about the manager?
But potentially he could have done. Let's say Poch stayed and they continued to improve in the same, like the back end of the season, and he had a similar start to Enzo Maresca. I think it would be fair to sit here now and say I don't think they've got enough to win the league this year, but another good summer in the window, potentially they could get over the line. And my question mark over Poch would be, does he have the cojones for it? Because he has that question mark against him as an individual. I do agree with a lot of what Husam says. I think they've shown that they're a team that's on its way to becoming title contenders. They need more quality in the team. They need more quality in the squad. I think everybody can see that. The one thing is this: Chelsea suffer with this standards FC problem. And that doesn't mean they shouldn't have high standards. No, they do. And this is...
Terry, you're never going to let this go. You're never going to let this go.
You don't know what I'm going to say, do you? No, what I mean is by I'm not talking about Listen, I would say about 80% of the people that talk about standards online are doing it for attention. I don't actually think they mean what they say. It's a little bit performative. But Chelsea as a football club for 20 years developed this notion of let's just sack a manager and bring the next guy in and we will keep winning. This only happened for a particular period of time when they were able to spend unlimited amounts of money and they were able very quickly to build a squad that had such a superior core compared to most other EPL teams and most European sides. They then kept that core and carried on adding to it again and again and again. The problem is that gets ignored by the standard merchants is they're no longer that Chelsea with that core. You can't just keep sacking a manager and at some point it will work because they're not coming in and standing upon the same. They're trying to stand upon the shoulder of the giants, but they're no longer standing on those. There's no giant to stand on. It's a very average height man. Okay, they're not piggybacking upon something great and then trying to help get it to a next level. That greatness isn't there. That quality isn't there right now. When they went from Ranieri to Jose, they had a team that was a Champions League side and a team that only really missed out on winning the league because Arsenal went invincible. Jose, by the way, an upgrade, took them to that next level as an example. That core then were at the club with new additions and quality additions to it for the next 5, 6, 7 years. But that approach stopped working, and we saw that towards the back end of Roman's era because they stopped themselves. They stopped themselves challenging for league titles. What they need to do is stick with somebody for a period of time until they have that solid core, that brand of football that works, that team that has won or is close to winning. Then I think you can go back to yielding that standard like an axe. At the moment, it's too early, in my personal opinion. And I know that, I don't know, I just feel that I don't know why it keeps getting pushed so hard. Everybody wants their club to behave like their club did at the peak of their powers. But when their club isn't at the peak of their powers, they didn't behave that way to get there. They had to build it differently. And I just find it a little bit odd that people remove the context of how they got to the top. Man United fans do it. No, we just need to keep sacking until we get to the top. We had Fergie and he just always maintained it. But it took Fergie 6.5, 7 years to build it because it was broken when he took over. Removing that part of Fergie's history does him the biggest disservice in our football club's history. It really, really does. Equally, Roman didn't take over a team broken, mid-table, never competed or won a trophy in 20, 30, 40 years. That had to be built from the ground up. He took over a Champions League winning team that was in and around the top 4 regularly, that had won domestic trophies, and that had been close to winning a league title. And he added, with unlimited spending power at that point, by the way, added more quality to it and had more money to spend than anyone in the history of English football. If you remove that context, of course, standard FC approach works. But in reality, it's stupid. They have to stick with this manager for a period of time. They've got to drop all this Poch versus Maresca, my opinion, your opinion, and do what's best for their football club. In my view, if they don't,
even if there is a manager better than him available,
if there's a manager,
let me put the hypothetical for you first before you answer. Let me put the hypothetical for you.
Go on.
I saw that Enzo Maresca played very good football, and if I was a Chelsea fan, I was very optimistic. Leicester fans kept warning us, but this is going to happen, this is going to happen. We didn't believe. Now they go on and they don't recover. Let's assume they don't recover, right? Because if they recover, there is no conversation. He's good, keep backing him. Now they go and finish 6th or something like this season. And there is a better manager available in the market. Do they stick with Maresca?
Great question. So there's a great bit of context here. If Maresca and his team start to perform to a level that's nowhere near where this Chelsea team today should be, it becomes a conversation. But for me, this is a mini crisis. It's 5 games. If that 5 games goes to 10, goes to 15, goes to 20, and have only won a couple of games, then it's a different conversation because you may not have a good enough coach. You may not have a good enough manager. But this is a person that a few weeks ago, everybody was lauding, going, wow, look what he's doing year 1. The opinion shouldn't be changing that quickly, in my humble opinion. It would be different if he was here 3 or 4 years, he'd already won trophies, and he was falling away, and you could see some a grip of the squad being let go. But for now, I think what they need to do is be supporters and support their team, be as encouraging as possible. They should be looking to push as much negative conversation away as they can while still addressing the problems that they face in this particular moment. Now, of course, there are permutations. There are different scenarios that may see my opinion change, your opinion change, Chelsea's opinion changing. But that's all that's hypotheticals, and they're fine to have in football. They're part of the debate. But in the here and now, when I'm saying what I am, Chelsea fans have got to try and keep the atmosphere at their club as pure, clean, and positive as possible. They still have a very young squad who are, by definition, less likely to handle that pressure as well as a more senior squad. And they've got to create a little bit more continuity. They need that continuity so they can build from, so that they're in a structure that is more stable for the flexibility of changing a head coach.
You're asking the wrong fan base, but fine.
So if you think about Springboard, Springboard is flexible, but it needs a strong structure to be attached to, right? That is what they need. If you want some flexibility, you need a strong structure. And it might be the wrong fan base. I'm just saying, if they keep going down this road of, well, Roman just used to sack until we got it right, we'll keep doing that. I don't think you're ever going to develop a squad that can win you the league. I think you need to give someone time. Now, if they're completely wrong and they're winning one game in 20, that's a different scenario. That's that individual coach isn't right. But they've got to find a coach who they can have there for 2 or 3 seasons to integrate this team, to build that confidence and resilience so that they're able to win these major trophies.
I haven't yet changed my opinion.
Can I just say one thing? Sorry, Mo. I want to say one thing.
Let me give you one second. I haven't changed my opinion yet on Enzo Maresca. But there's a lot of Chelsea fans that they say, what if this continues? And this is what YouTube content is. What if this continues? What if this mini crisis go into 10 games? Because it can happen. I think the manager is good. I think the manager is good because he has shown signs that he can play good football and can be flexible. For some reason, in the last month or so, he's changed. And managers can change.
So I understand that. Before we go to Super Chats, I would say this. That's where it's about, and I know we three do this. This is why it's about listening to each other as well. I agree with you. If this form continues into 10, 20, 30 games, it becomes a conversation. I also understand if somebody thinks it's going to become 10, 20, 30 games, why they would say, get rid of him today. Because if you think that's going to happen, I understand you having that opinion. But it's also important for that individual to be open-minded enough to listen to another Chelsea fan or a rival fan or a pundit who thinks it is bad, this has been poor, but remember the good times, it could turn around, give it some patience and some encouragement. That is it. Maresca turning this round and getting back onto a good winning streak at this moment in time is probably more likely than him winning 1 in 10, 1 in 20 games. So I feel that it's about trying to keep the encouragement levels up as opposed to just going down the, yep, this manager's dud, let's move on to the next one. Because I don't know if he is a dud right now. I'm not convinced. If you think he is, then you think he is. Let's go to some of these super chats here. It's really important to look at these. This says, we are playing well. Some manager errors, but every team has that. It's still personnel, youth, and needing a goalkeeper, centre-back, and striker, similar to last season.
Gav was balanced all of last season. People like Gav, I understand. But if you were strictly Poch out last season and blame nothing but Poch, this year you have to blame Maresca. But you won't, because Husam lives rent-free in your head.
Is that a shot at Don? Is that a shot at Don there?
That's a shot at Don, Lewis, everyone. If the shoe fits, wear it, mate.
Looking at fans more mad at Maresca instead of asking for the sporting director's job is the real problem. Back Maresca, questions for the sporting director.
But Jiggy, I will also keep the same energy here quickly. I said this to the Arsenal fans as well, and I say this to you. Why were you not talking about sporting directors when you were second and you were 2 points behind Liverpool and you were above Arsenal? No one mentioned the sporting directors. All of a sudden, you want to talk about them again. It's crazy. Crazy.
This is I think Jiggy might have been, to be fair, but yes, the others not so much.
Yeah, but the reason why you wouldn't be mad at me if I talk about FSG is because I mention FSG even when we're
talking. I understand. I'm saying the super chat at Jiggy was calling that out. It will be interesting to watch someone who last year didn't mention the sporting directors or the ownership at all, or in fact supported them very vehemently, this year talk about ownership and that and completely ignore. Yeah, it's about the same energy. Like,
Yeah,
for
exactly.
instance,
Like Dom. Yeah.
I always look at Man United's board as the ultimate problem at the football club, and I'll never change that stance. Don't put all this on one category. He used to switch players and halftime and made changes when needed. He doesn't now. He's making subs too late or not at all. He's at fault along with missed chances, is what Nick says here. Thank you, Nick.
Fantastic super chat, to be honest. It's just fantastic.
It is a brilliant super chat. Very honest from Nick. Decay says, Mo is doing revisionism. You praised Maresca and Chelsea in the first half of the season for our goals and attack. We told you we weren't good defensively. When the goals dried up, you blame Maresca. Come on.
Just listen to Nick, just the last super chat when he said Maresca changed. Why you don't accept that Maresca changed? The plan changed, Dakai. The tactics changed. You're wide open in the middle. You weren't that wide open in the middle. Like, bro, look at Nick. He's saying Maresca doesn't make changes too late. He doesn't trust he used to play Vega sometimes. He used to play some others. He's so stubborn now to play Joao Felix. Yes, he played him yesterday, but every now and then he gives him a minute. So look at Maresca, to be honest, and say, yeah, you missed chances, but also Maresca tactics needs to change.
This here, next one says he's 10-7-4. Okay, 10 wins, 7 draws, 4 defeats, I think he means. Lost 4 matches in the first 21 matches of his Premier League career. Stop all the nonsense. It's a grind with injuries, multiple fixtures, etc. And he's lost 4 games. EPL fans equal WWE fans.
I don't think this is more Premier League fans. This is something Mo said earlier, which is this is the worst fan base to ask to be patient. And this is what I said all of last year. They're never going to be patient. It's impossible. But the 4 losses came against who? Liverpool, City. Who the hell else did they lose to? Liverpool, City. Fulham. And who's the 4th one? They didn't lose to you, did they? They drew, right? You drew.
Drew with Arsenal. What about Arsenal? They
drew with Arsenal.
They drew with Arsenal.
Someone in the chat will tell us anyway.
The problem is not these losses. The
other loss was
Ipswich. Yeah.
The problem is the draw against Bournemouth when you were in the driving seat and you were open second half. Ipswich, the Crystal Palace. These are the problems. It's not looking at 4 losses.
Yeah, the Bournemouth and Fulham. Those games where they're dominating, leading, and then
Crystal Palace.
Same thing. This here from Abs, he says, Chalobah news, another reason why the board are clowns. Yeah, Chalobah has been called back with immediate effect, which is an interesting one. I mean, a lot of Chelsea fans, again...
I rate Chalobah. I would have taken him at Liverpool, actually.
A lot of Chelsea fans I speak to wanted better than Chalobah, but definitely put him above players like Disasi as an example, who's been awful for them this year. So
I think Chalobah is better than Disasi. He's better than Badiashile. I think he's... Like, Chalobah is not a bad defender. He's not the best on the ball.
He doesn't solve the tactical problem. He does not solve the problem,
but like he won't become an issue if you
unless they get a Van Dijk, it doesn't solve the problem.
Yeah, the K here.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's not Maresca's fault or Poch's fault.
No, it is. You don't understand. Unless they get a Van Dijk, Maresca cannot play this football without a Van Dijk. The high 5 players not.
But that's just my point. What did I say earlier on? That's why I defended Maresca and I defended.
Habibi, but there is no Van Dijk in the world. He needs to work.
Yeah, Habibi, if you want to improve your team, go sign 3 top-class players who have experience. It's very simple.
Habibi. Okay, but there is no Van Dijk in the world right now. He needs to work with what he has.
You don't have to get Van Dijk. Allah. You don't have to get Van Dijk. Madrid are trying to do the whole Galacticos thing. Go get Rudiger. Problem solved. No need Van Dijk. Who told you need Van Dijk?
Rudiger. You're going to get Rudiger back. Okay.
Go get Lobotka. Go get a forward player who could score. Osimhen. Problem solved. Khalas.
You think that you get a striker, the problem solved in the middle and the defense?
No, that's why I said 3 players and you changed.
Okay. I still think the problem is in the middle.
You know, I think you studied the wrong thing. You studied geology. You shouldn't have studied. You should have studied yoga because you stretch statements.
Oh my God!
And you stretch the fuck out of it for no reason. That's Terry's job. Terry's here to switch to stretch statements. Don't stretch shit that I didn't say. I said center back, midfielder, and forward. And as soon as I say the forward's name, also you're saying we should just sign a forward.
I think the problem is tactical. That's what you don't understand. I think listen, I can say it. I cannot understand it for you. Go ahead.
The K here says Chelsea fans don't want to sack Maresca. We know our issues. Defense is a problem, but Maresca isn't the problem. We have the youngest squad in England. Fair play to you. Patrick here says an issue is that fans of every club are being sold projects and the progression is never linear. The problem is that some fans can accept that and others can't, leaning into ideology wars between fans. But Patrick, it's maybe the best super chat I have ever I've ever had. And do you know why I say that? I watched the 99 documentary. It's on the BBC in the UK about the treble winning season. I watched it on Saturday night, and there was a moment in it where somebody's talking back in 1998, the summer, and the players were quite concerned that summer because preseason was okay. There was a bit of a ruckus because there was the World Cup, and some players weren't given a rest. Fergie said, "No, come back now. We need you to start training." They started the season really poorly. Arsenal battered us in the Community Shield. The league campaign was sluggish. The window was still open, though. And there's players being interviewed now in the moment. And there was interviews and people talking back then. And somebody talking back in the summer of 1998 said, Sir Alex Ferguson told us to just trust the process. And it made me laugh out loud. I was having a little drink. My dog was asleep next to me. And I startled him because I burst out laughing so loudly. Because I was thinking to myself, if you say things like that now, it's kind of ridiculed. But managers and clubs have said this to fans and players for a long time. It's only now that we're kind of hyper-focused on it. These projects and processes have always existed. It's just that they're more pronounced now because we as fans are kind of in the middle of the media because we have social media and we're talking about it and we're reacting. Where it just never came up so much before. And I think what I love about this super chat is I hear it all the time. What phase is this club in? If you want to get, what phase is slot in? Well, if we're going to get really pernickety about it, it's not about Slot's phase, it's Liverpool's phase. You're probably in about phase 15 since FSG have been there. If we're going to get really pedantic about the point, you started your rebuild before Klopp and what you did still here, right? So this is the irony in it. People do think it's linear. And I saw Man United fans get angry yesterday because a report's come out that the manager thinks it will take 6 transfer windows, including January's, to build the squad he wants. That's far too long. But you've been told consistently by Ineos and by fans that understand what this takes, that it's going to take 3 to 4 years to get the squad to be, again, to try and build a squad that's good enough to be consistent every single year. Now it's got to be quicker. Why does it have to be quicker? How could it be quicker? You don't know what you're talking about. And I think it's really, and then what you get is you get improvement, then you get a dip, and everyone's like, see, the process stuff is bullshit. Honestly, it's a great, great super chat because it's just a lot of people that are impatient, silly, or deliberately lie about these situations. You're absolutely spot on there, my friend. You really are. Irate Trev, it was about how the board treated him. No, I get what you meant. I get what you meant by that. We were just talking about it in general.
Wasn't he ostracized in the summer as well? I swear, like they didn't let him practice with the team or something. I swear he was, if I'm not mistaken.
He got the same treatment as Sterling and the rest of them.
Hey.
And then Chalobah, come help us. Chalobah, please come back.
I love this. Terry, stop making excuses for Man United. It's not about excuses. We are where we are. Anyone who thinks we're going to become a consistent team and we're going to build that squad, and when we're talking consistent, we're like talking be able to compete year in, year out for the league. If you think it isn't going to take 3 to 4 seasons to develop that, you're kidding yourself. And this is what might happen. We might start next season off really well 3 months in, and I'll get, Terry, you're wrong. It didn't take 4 years. Then we have a little dip. And instead of people going, do you know what? It was always going to take 3 or 4 years. It will be managers are fraud. Ineos are frauds. No, we're in that process. You're just not prepared to be patient or learn to understand it. Do some reading and you'll get it. I know you're only joking, Blade, but I do find it really interesting. I really do find it interesting indeed, what people say around this. Forget about sport. Life in general is a process. A lot of the standard FCs who have channels don't they wake up tomorrow why don't they wake up tomorrow with 1 million subs? Because nobody has the rights to win. You earn it and takes time. That's what I would love that expression, because I look at it this way. If you're someone that's Standard FC, but you run your own YouTube channel, it doesn't matter how good you are, it's still going to take a period of time for you to grow and have a substantially large channel that makes consistent, good quality content that stands the test of time. And what I mean by that is in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, you're still around making content and you're still relevant, and you haven't kind of exposed. A lot of newcomers expose themselves really early by, crazy things they say or do. If you really are that good and you have the highest standards possible, you're still not going to be able to catch up Robbie or catch Goldbridge. Or in fact, let's look at some of the smaller channels that are on 100K. You're not going to catch them in 6 months, a year, 2 years. It's going to take time. It doesn't matter how good you are. It will take time. Unless you're best friends with somebody with millions of followers who can refer them to you and tell you, you're not going to. There are some people in the YouTube world outside of football that have got 2 million subs, but it's because they went to school with someone that's got 10 million subs, right? It's not really because of their talent. There's a little bit of nepotism in there. But yeah, listen, it's so correct. And it doesn't mean you shouldn't have high standards. But the idea that by having high standards, you achieve more in isolation of itself is fucking mental. It's mental thought process to have. It's because we live in a banter culture. People are quick to banter clubs. I see it already with Almarim, who has taken you 14th in a month, which is a nonsense, no patience. Yeah, of course, because we have to strip it back to go forward, but people don't want to understand that. Chalobah was mistreated by Chelsea. Now we are asking him to help us. He was the best centre-back last season. He deserves better. Shambolic from the directors. That's what's been said here. I hear you on that. Moving on from Chelsea, I need to ask Husam, though, how he's feeling today. Because we need to ask Husam how he's feeling, because in the summer, he had maybe the biggest, most epic rant ever, asking for Real Sociedad to be relegated, slagging off mountains, praying for bugs to be on the food of Zubimendi when he rejected coming to one of the most decorated and successful clubs in the world. The reports now from the Ben Jacobs and co is that Arsenal will sign him, that he has agreed personal terms after indeed rejecting Liverpool. What's your thoughts on Zubimendi making this move to North London?
The thing is, like, I don't know how to say that. I don't know how to speak from an Arsenal perspective, because I just don't care about it from an Arsenal perspective. I care about it more from our perspective. Listen, Liverpool are the biggest club in England, but the biggest bitch in the transfer window. I have to acknowledge this because of the way that we execute, because of the way that we run. And it's just a common denominator with these owners. And the reason why I can always talk about owners is I'm the type of guy that I've spoken about them, even when we're first, even when we're 10th, even when we're 5th, wherever we are. I'm always FSG out, and that won't change unless we see significant differences at the club. And, when you look at this Zubimendi situation, it just epitomizes everything that's wrong with my club. Literally epitomizes everything that's wrong with my club. The fact that we don't act, the fact that we don't actually get the targets that we need. And you can see the wheels could be starting to fall off, but the people don't want to talk about it because, as I pointed out to Tom Little, bring the calculators out. You get me? How many points are we ahead? Calculate. People don't ever speak about momentum or important things. With from Zubimendi's perspective, obviously he's a game-changing player. No one can deny this. He's a game changer. He came on for Rodri in the Euros final, and Spain didn't feel like they missed anything. He's an unbelievable player. But from my club, I'm very disappointed we didn't go back in for him. I'm really disappointed. I know there was an article by Guillem Balagay, I think it was probably a month ago, where he said Zubimendi is now open to the idea of leaving Sociedad. I don't know why we weren't the first people to knock on his door, given the fact that we have all the groundwork done from the summer. But we're just messing around and we're just BSing around. But obviously, if he does sign for us, it'll be a fantastic signing for him. And he might be one of the reasons why Arsenal do go on and win the league. But if he does not sign for Arsenal, and he actually stays at Sociedad, maybe he just will never leave his hometown club, and maybe we should all stop trying. So this is still very early stages, I understand, but the fact that we don't try in for him is just pathetic. For me, I want my club to always do the best. I want us to always try. I want us to always try to win and try to compete, but we can't do this under this ownership. We just simply can't. We'll never have sustainable success. The fact that us and Arsenal are in a conversation to begin with is a big problem, to be honest with you. Like Arsenal, we were top of the world 4 years ago. Top of the world, won the league, won the Champions League. Mbappe was doing interviews talking about us publicly, and now I've got Arsenal Football Club competing with us because of us just not doing anything for the last 4 years. And I hope we don't bottle the easiest league title ever handed to us. So yeah, it's very disappointing, very, very disappointing. I was so upset when I saw the news yesterday. I was so upset because if he does become available and we aren't the club to get him in the Premier League, it's going to be extremely disappointing.
On Zubimendi, some breaking news.
Yes, good news for Arsenal supporters because they're closing in on signing Martin Zubimendi from Real Sociedad. Now, he won't actually join until the summer, but he is a player who's got a 60 million euro release clause. That's about 51 million pounds. Lots of other clubs have been interested in signing him. For instance, he was close to joining Liverpool last summer before that deal collapsed at the last minute. Last summer before that deal collapsed at the last minute. But Arsenal have been in talks to sign him. I think Mikel Arteta has played a big part in convincing the player.
Zubimendi, you have earned an enemy forever. I will be watching Sociedad games playing on your downfall, you emotional wreck. You're not even a man. You should give up your chromosomes. You're not even a man. You should go get a sex change because you're not a man. You're a pussy.
Zubi-Zubi-Doo, where are you?
To thinking, oh, I'm gonna miss the mountains of San Sebastian. Fuck Real Sociedad. I hope Real Sociedad lose every single game. I hope Real Sociedad get relegated. I hope Martin Zubimendi gets fucked in his career and they transfer him to Elche in the 3rd fucking division.
Zubi-Zubi-Doo, where are you? We got some work to do now.
Of Spain, I hope they never select him in the Spanish top team.
Zubi-Zubi-Doo, where are you? We need some help from you now.
I hope every single plate of food that he orders in his fucking city has a bug on it. 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 Fuck Martin Zubimendi.
Hello, Raggy. Hello, Raggy.
Hello, Raggy.
Sorry, I just love that rant. It's so beautiful. It really, really is. It really, really is.
That's the worst edit of all time.
The worst edit. I was quite impressed with it, to be honest with you. Viewers, let us know what you think.
Did
Good or
AJ
bad
make it?
edit? Good or bad? No, I made it myself. I made it. I like to edit myself. I find editing quite therapeutic. Actually, I like just put my earphones on. I can block the world out. It's quite nice. In terms of Arsenal getting this deal, I mean, a lot of rivals are saying it isn't done yet. It may not get over the line. Listen, some people don't like transfer journalists, each to their own. It feels to me like it's a deal where they won't announce it just yet because Real Sociedad's committed to, Zubimendi's committed to Real Sociedad. But Arsenal releasing all this news and briefing the media this way, it feels like it will happen. If it gets over the line, Judge Mo, how good a piece of business do you think this is for Arsenal in terms of bolstering, improving that midfield for them?
In isolation, that deal is fantastic. But that deal tells Arsenal fans one thing. If your opinion, you don't matter. Your opinions don't matter. You are not making of this club. It's called the Mikel Arteta Football Club, not Arsenal Football Club. This is it. This is the message that this sends to the Arsenal fans. If you don't matter, your opinion doesn't matter. You're not the people that support this club. We don't care about you. The deal individually, I'm very happy for Arsenal that they got him because he completes that midfield. Him, Odegaard, and Declan Rice makes a fantastic and a brilliant midfield, to be honest. Him playing next to Declan Rice will actually be, even for the next manager, is fantastic. However, he's Spanish. Mikel Arteta links, as everyone said before, that Mikel Arteta played a big role in this, and I think he will join Arsenal because Mikel Arteta is Spanish and he will be able to convince him to join. But reality is, if Arteta, we still have the same opinion. If Arteta doesn't win anything this season, Arsenal might need a new voice. But it doesn't look like it's happening. It looks like Arteta is going to continue at the helm of Arsenal because of the Cronkies. And Arsenal fans' voice is not being heard. If Arsenal fans don't want Mikel Arteta at the end of the season, your voice is not going to be heard. Yes, it's great work from the Cronkies and everything, but the reality is, what if the new manager doesn't like to play with the same way? What if the new manager doesn't want Zubimendi? People think that I'm salty. I'm not. My club is not even in for Zubimendi. We can't even compete with Arsenal or any of the Premier League or any of the Premier League in terms of finances. It's a great piece of business for Arsenal, but I'm just saying, why are Arsenal fans not seeing the big picture? If you sign Zubimendi and if Arteta continues without winning, what guarantees that you will win next season? Or you're going to be what Patrice Evra said, next season FC, Netflix FC. I know that people looking at it in individual, but I'm looking at it on a bigger picture. If Turkish wants a change, if Dan Potts wants a change, if every Arsenal fan that goes to the stadium, some of them want change, why their voice is not heard? Why only the Arteta sexuals are heard? Why the people that only love Arteta is being heard? Why the people that are against this and have standards for this football club? Arteta this season have regressed and everyone said that. Losing to 10 men Man United, throwing the FA Cup away, and you losing at home to Newcastle is a big sign of you. You might not win trophies under this guy. You might not win anything under this guy. But the board are treating Arsenal as an experiment, as a process. That is my opinion. You want my opinion? This is my opinion. See, people don't like it. People want us. Because I praised Arsenal when they played good football, because I praised Arsenal last season, we have to continue in the same trajectory or the same way. Otherwise, we're haters. Why would I hate Arsenal? There is no reason for me to hate Arsenal. I praised Arsenal multiple times. But I want Arsenal to be better. You are the only club in the top 5, and I'm not including Spurs, with the longest time waiting for the Premier League or the Champions League. Even Man United, at their worst period, still 12 years. They've been waiting for a trophy, a big one, for 20 years. And I'm sorry, I don't count the FA Cups and the Carabao Cups as major trophies for big clubs. These cups might be good for Nottingham Forest, for Aston Villa, not for Arsenal Football Club, who had Invincibles, who reached the Champions League finals, who had big team, big players at their Henry, Bergkamp, Sol Campbell, Tony Adams, all these guys. You treat your club, right, as a small club. I've had Arsenal fans in my chat. I want the best for Arsenal, you don't. I'm telling you this, some Arsenal fans, I want the best for your club, you don't. You are happy. One of the people said, but Mo, look where we were in the last 20 years. He brought us back to challenging. You are telling me that challenging is enough then? And by the way, this conversation about Zubimendi has to be about Arteta. You know why? Spanish midfielder that completes his midfield. And it's about him. Individually, brilliant signing for you. You beat Liverpool. Fantastic for you. He completes your midfield. But doesn't that mean that Arteta's continuing? That is my take on this. And I said that on my channel. People don't like it. You know why? Arteta sexual. They like Arteta so much. Arsenal fans, the last thing I'm going to say, Arsenal fans are afraid of change. You've had the same manager for 5 years now. Sometimes you need change.
But why did you make this about Arteta? I don't get it.
Because it's a Spanish link, and every single journalist that reported in this saying Arteta played a big role in convincing the player. Does that make sense? That means Arteta staying next season no matter what. That makes sense to you now?
But we knew this anyway.
Okay, so Arsenal
Forget
fans
about the fans' perspective. Me and you both agree that the Cronkies won't sack him. We know this.
Okay, so what the fans' voice need to be heard, bro.
I told you, even if Arsenal finished 10th, they're not sacking Arteta. I told you this.
Okay, so they're not treating the club as a big club then?
No, we know, but why? But this is not new information. We know that they're not going to sack him. Arteta's not going anywhere. He's not. The Arsenal could finish 10th this season, and Arteta's not going anywhere. Just give up.
That's not okay for you, right? That's not okay for you.
No, for me, it's not okay, but I'm just telling you what.
As long as we agree, that's fine. As long as we agree.
No, I agree. It's not okay from a fan's perspective, but for the ownership won't sack him.
Yeah, because they don't want the best for the club.
If they had a really bad season and they finished 10th, they're still not sacking him.
10th. No, they aren't going to finish 10th, bro. They're going to finish 3rd, 2nd, whatever. It doesn't matter. If Liverpool win the Premier League and Arsenal don't win the Premier League and the Champions League, they failed. We all agree, right? Do we all agree, number one?
Okay,
Do we all agree if Arsenal don't win the Premier League or the Champions League this season, they failed? Is that fair to say?
I think yes, definitely, definitely, because they're being judged on winning trophies. What I just want to throw this as a question to you, though.
Right.
I don't see signing Zubimendi as a problem, whether Arteta's here or not. Zubimendi is that high quality a midfield player. As long as where deals like that are stupid is if you then say Arteta leaves for whatever reason. The new guy comes in and goes, "Oh yeah, you know that 300 million you spent the last 2 windows? Yeah, don't like any of those players." Well, you hopefully would think they're not stupid enough to hire someone that doesn't rate the star players at a club. I don't see what the problem is with Arteta being given money to spend, because whether he is successful with it or is it the next guy benefits from it, that shouldn't matter to Arsenal fans. For me, that part of the argument doesn't matter to me. I agree with you that he has to be judged on the trophies that he wins now. I think you can ring fence the rebuild and go, well done for what you've done, getting them competing, blah, 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 blah. But they now have to be judged on winning trophies. But doesn't a signing like Zubimendi make it more likely to stay consistent and win trophies?
But
Yes.
you're doing the same thing. You're doing the same thing that you did with Ten Hag and the Dutch players. I hear what Mo's saying.
No,
from
I'm
that
not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No,
Yes,
hang
you
on.
are.
Hang on.
Yes, you are.
How is it the same? First of all, I need to understand that.
Okay, I'll tell you how is it the same. Merino, this guy,
Hang on.
Zubimendi.
Let me just stop
Odegaard.
one thing. Hang on. Well, just stop a second. I haven't mentioned anything to do with the players being Spanish. Them being Spanish is irrelevant to me. I'm stating that I think Zubimendi is that good a football player that whether you sack the manager or not, the next guy could benefit from it. Unless we disagree on that.
No, I do agree with that. Like, I
Okay.
don't disagree with that part of the argument. I'm talking about what Mo said with the Spanish thing, because Mo's saying he's a
Oh, but
Spanish midfielder.
I haven't challenged that, but yeah, you can go ahead.
Yeah, he's talking about the whole Spanish midfielder thing. But what Terry is saying, like regarding Zubimendi, listen, he's a difference maker. I think Zubimendi is a difference maker. Like, we talk about top class, top class signings and stuff like this. He's definitely top class. Now, I get what Mo's issue with this is. Mo's issue is the following. He's saying that Arsenal are now Arteta Football Club, not Arsenal Football Club. That's basically what Mo's saying, because he's saying, regardless of what case or what scenario, Arteta's staying. So if he's already making signings for the summer, it means that the board won't sack him even if he doesn't win anything major this season. That's your
That's the whole
point, right, Mo?
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about Zubimendi, fantastic signing for Arsenal, takes them forward, completes the midfield. Great piece of business that you do it now and you have in the summer, fantastic. But the problem is I always look at the bigger picture with Arsenal. You know why? Because Arsenal are not in phase 1 or phase 2 or phase 3 or phase 4. That is the problem. That's what people don't understand. The signing by itself in isolation is great. It's the same if Arne Slot has been here for 5 years and not winning anything and he starts signing Dutch players. Even if that Dutch player is great.
Why does
the link.
why does his nationality matter? So the only element I'm confused about is his nationality, because it's not as though the predominant. I mean, I would argue that the majority, well, not an argument, it's a fact. The majority of the signings made by Mikel Arteta are not Spanish.
Yeah, because this one, the journalist said that Mikel Arteta played a big role in convincing the player to join Arsenal. That means he promised him to be coaching him next season.
Right.
That's why. That's the only thing. If there was no link, if no one said that, if Arsenal, if no one said that, fine. But that is my problem with it.
I remember reading that one of the big reasons Declan Rice wanted Arsenal was because he wanted to work under Arteta and he's English.
Yeah, but it's the same. So it's the same.
Okay.
What's your point? It's exactly the same.
Okay, so
My point. It's exactly the same.
So it's not.
Let me explain to you.
I've never
If
been so
any-
confused.
That's why we're
If
back.
any, guys,
So
if any player,
Okay,
if
okay.
any player join Arsenal because they want to be coached next season under Arteta, that's an indication that Arteta is staying. Doesn't matter if it's Spanish,
You're right, okay.
English,
Listen,
Swiss, who cares? Yeah.
That makes sense. I'm just wondering why we're mentioning his nationality. I didn't get the specificity
Because
if-
Arteta is Spanish and he's Spanish. That's
But
it.
that doesn't matter, because if the news today was Arsenal have done a deal in the summer to sign Isak, who isn't Spanish, but the reason he's signed is because he wants to play for Arteta, the logic's the same. It doesn't matter that he's Swedish. I just didn't understand the Spanish bit. That's all I was confused about. I get your point, and I understand that some people are concerned.
Can I ask you something? There is a super chat that just came in from Diallo. Can you put it up? The last one. No, the last one, the small one. The small one. Just the last one. The last one. Wanting Arteta to stay is not sexual. It is childish. It is the definition of it if Arteta doesn't win anything. It's becoming Arteta Football Club Diallo, not Arsenal Football Club. It's the definition of it. By the way, this is literally Arteta sexuals, that people are in love with the manager and are afraid of change. They are afraid of change, that to go backwards. That's what people do. It's the reality is, if I have a manager for 5 years, that's the same that people that was Ten Hag. They wanted Ten Hag so much to stay that they aren't looking for the best for the football club. They're looking for Arteta. Unless you are deluded, and if Arteta doesn't win anything, and you believe that Arteta is the best thing that can happen since sliced bread for Arsenal Football Club. Really, to be honest. Really, to be honest, it's just kind of weird.
Let's jump into some of these super chats here. First one says, you can sack Mikel Arteta. It doesn't guarantee progression or regression. I don't trust the Cronkies to replace him competently, so I don't want him sacked. Would you say that's a logical train of thought from an individual?
Very logical, but I'm always up for a change to try. Who are they gonna get? Do you think they're gonna get a championship manager? They're gonna try to go get a good manager to replace the guy. They're gonna try to go get a good manager to replace the guy. And also, by the way,
I actually hear what Mo's saying, by the way, because if they've gone through like 3 years of trying and not winning, maybe they do need a new voice. This is a possibility, to be fair.
Yeah, like just
I don't understand this. I understand that logic in isolation. Someone whose opinion is, I think, and this is what you've basically said, Mo, correct me if I'm wrong, did a really good job rebuilding, done a really good job getting them into the title race, but have got to get over the line. So I think they should try something new. Even though it's risking maybe going backwards, they should take the risk. That's essentially 100%. What you're saying. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Logically, I get it. What Dial Square is saying, I don't want to sack Mikel Arteta because he personally has no faith that the Cronkies will go and get what he believes to be a better manager. So he'd rather he'd rather the devil he knows than the devil he doesn't. I also think, logically speaking, that also makes sense.
It does. But sometimes you get a better manager even by trying. A lot of Chelsea fans actually didn't trust the board of directors, but they want to push out anyway. They said anyone might take us over the line.
I get that. This here says,
oh my God, this fucking
from D. He says, speak on Zubimendi joining Arsenal. Mo, no, sack Arteta now. Mo, this is such a bad faith argument. Not everything has to be about Mikel Arteta.
It is, by the way, for Arsenal Football Club, it is about Mikel Arteta, by the way. As much as before that, when Ten Hag was here for a long time, everything was about Eric Ten Hag, by the way. People don't understand this. Mikel Arteta has been coaching Arsenal for a while, right? For 5 years. And I praised him massively. And I said, if Inzaghi leaves, I would take Arteta. But he has been managing Arsenal 5 years, guys. 5 years. This is turning into Mikel Arteta Football Club, not Arsenal Football Club. Oh my God. Every signing now, every player at Arsenal, he gave a contract extension or he approved him at the end. He's playing them. Oh my word, Arsenal fans. You guys will never be ever have. I don't know. Arsenal fans, you live in your own bubble.
Can I ask you a question on that? Just so I understand your logic to a larger degree. Let's say he wins the Premier League and the Champions League. Is it then Arsenal? Hang on. Is it then Arsenal FC or is it still Arteta FC? Is it only? And I asked that to frame it better. Is it only? Is it only Arteta FC if they put faith in him and he doesn't win? If he gets control and they don't win? If he wins, will you say this is Arsenal Football Club or is it Arteta?
It will be still Arteta, but Arteta's doing the best for the club. He's winning with the club. It will be still Arteta because Arteta, in my opinion, at the current moment, Arteta is the biggest head at Arsenal, in my opinion.
Okay. Dahl says, so if you want Arteta to stay, it means I'm sexually attracted to Arteta. Weird. We value stability. This is the closest we've been. There's no entitlement, is what Dial Square says.
The word Arteta sexuals, guys, you just don't take it literal. You know what it means, so don't play the gimmick. You guys exactly know what it means, so just don't play the gimmick. The people that in love with Arteta that are so scared of him being sacked, that is the word, Arteta sexuals. Have some shame.
Conroy here says, so don't sign players just in case you change, you want to change later. What a way to guarantee you're going to need change is what Conroy says.
But he's not coming now. Is he? He's coming in the summer, is he? He's not going to help Arteta this season to win the Premier League or the Champions League, is he?
Shawnee, you were the same person that criticized me last season. And then when the season ended, you were like, oh, look, Husam is happy to be proven right. No, I'm not. I want my club to win. Also, negativity is not gold on Liverpool YouTube because the 4 biggest Liverpool channels are all positive only.
This super chat here, thank you, from Sorin says, makes sense that Arsenal will sign an injured player, is what he says here.
Who's the injured player?
I think Zubimendi, I think he means. Starlord here says, big up Terry, Husam, and Mo. Top 3 shows on YouTube. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Starlord. Thank you. And if you haven't hit the like button yet, get that done, people. We did these ones a little bit earlier. So let's go back to this here. This is from James, who says, have you guys even taken, I think he means taken Arsenal's injuries into consideration this season? I believe that Arteta is arrogant, but I think it is pathetic not to consider it.
I want to answer this one. The reason why I didn't take injuries into perspective is you weren't top of the league when Saka was fit. If you were top of the league when Saka was fit, you'd have had a leg to stand on, but you weren't even top when he was here. That's the thing that ruins this argument for you. And at the same time, I said my club bottled the league last season, even with all the injuries we had. So I don't mess around with this injury stuff. You have to be prepared. You have to come ready for war. Simple as.
Yeah. So point a drink. Salai, says Arsenal is a loser club. Not surprised.
Damn. Arsenal fan.
With disgusting attacks on Plaster family and culpability of content creators in creating a frenzy, will this have an impact on what you do?
I don't understand this.
Disgusting attack on. Do you mean just a disgust on players' families? You mean the Kai Havertz stuff? Listen, me criticizing
Kai Havertz stuff. What happened?
Okay, so Kai Havertz's wife was sent messages saying they're going to come to the house and murder her unborn baby, and they hope she has a miscarriage and things like this. Vile stuff. Vile. I look at it this way: somebody criticizing Kai Havertz, somebody saying they want him sold. That none of those people are responsible for anything some scumbag does online. If there are people advocating for nasty behavior, nasty treatment, telling people to DM them and abuse them, then I think you get into a different realm when you're in a different conversation whatsoever. But I don't like, and I'm not a fan of the idea that if Mo today says, oh, I really don't. If you guys watch that Rory Jennings and we go, no, why? Oh, he had such a bad take on Inter Milan. If the Football Terrace community then goes and starts DMing him, DMing his wife nasty messages, that is not on the Football Terrace and that is not on Mo, because nobody instructed you to go and do that. I don't think anybody is culpable. The same as if Mikel Arteta comes out today or Kai Havertz and says the people that did this are a disgrace, and then certain other Arsenal fans start DMing people that criticize the player with those level of abusive messages, I don't think Arteta or the player are responsible. Individuals are responsible for their own behavior in these circumstances, my friend. However, what I do, if I feel like a player is getting a little bit... So Jadon Sancho, when he was first of all removed from the squad, I didn't like that he commented on the situation publicly. I didn't like that Ten Hag called him out, but I also called out Sancho. When I started seeing the horrible PR from the club, all the leaks that came out, and then when you're hearing about him eating his lunch in the car, I stopped all manner of criticism of the player because I felt it was going too far. So I do think you can be responsible. However, if he misses 3 open goals today, it isn't wrong to criticize that performance, in my personal opinion.
Let's put it this way. If I call Darwin Núñez a 70 million pound Uruguayan pile of shit, I'm not responsible if someone DMs him something abusive because I didn't ask them to abuse him, and I don't condone abuse of any football player or their family. But Darwin Núñez is shit on the pitch. So there's two different things.
I feel that if you go too far with the pejoratives, if it goes from, oh, he was shit today, to getting nasty about him consistently, and then you see the pile-on and you jump on it more because it's getting traction. I think you play a part in it at that stage. I think as adults, you can go, do you know what? He's getting enough, and there's a difference between criticism and calling someone names. But I certainly do think people are responsible for their own actions. This here from Omar, he says, timing of the news could smell like PR. Why now? Yeah, Omar, we said this on a few shows yesterday. If they do no other business, Arsenal, then there's definitely an element of there's an element of PR to it anyway. Let's put some good news out there, definitely. But all clubs do that at all times, my friend. Saka wasn't the first injury, Husam. Before that, Odegaard was out for 2 months, and you can recall the back four you played. Can you recall the back four you played against at the Emirates?
Spandan, to a quick response to that, Odegaard is the same player that missed a penalty against Man United and has 1 assist in the last year or something. And when it comes to the back four, you would have been the same person that said you're happy with your defensive depth. So there's no excuses. So I don't want no BS, man. Don't want no BS.
Only an observation that it means only an opposition would want Arteta sacked. He needs to be backed with funds and not sacked. The Cronkies are not ambitious enough. Arteta is the scapegoat, is what Kenneth says here. Stats wise, Arsenal are having a better season than last season. Same points, more goals scored, less goals conceded. Not playing as pretty though, for sure. That's an interesting statistic. I didn't.
Yeah, Tony, I'm going to tell you the same thing I tell my own fan base. Put the calculator down. Think about this from more a momentum perspective. You're supposed to be really running away with this league. The fact that City have bottled it.
This here says, if a structure is implemented, a manager is whatever.
Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. If we never hired Jurgen Klopp, we wouldn't have won the league.
You still need a good coach. Absolutely. People are scared of Arteta being sacked because they see what a good manager he is and what he would do with proper backing. We want to be here with Arsenal, we want him to do it with Arsenal, not at City and Barca. There is a fundamental difference when you bring up Chelsea. Chelsea's biggest glory, the 2 Champions Leagues, were won after sacking a manager. Arsenal's glory has been by trusting Wenger's process. Yeah,
that's actually factually not that accurate, because Wenger's biggest success came at the start of his Arsenal career, where he won 3 league titles in 6 or 7 years, won the double as well. So at the beginning, it wasn't a process. I think he won the second or the third year. He won and against Ferguson as well.
Yeah, he inherited a very good Arsenal core, absolutely, and he grew off that, and he built a new team after it, and they did very, very well. Chelsea winning 2 Champions Leagues after sacking managers. Look, there is merit to that. There is merit to it. What did they do? What did those managers do afterwards? What you should be aiming for, if you've got the highest standards, is someone that can deliver those trophies and continuity and consistency within the league. That's what you should be aiming for. But yeah, sometimes you do sack managers and there's a knee jerk and you get success straight away, as in a trophy is one as an example. But how often does that happen? Chelsea have done well with it, absolutely. So maybe it pushes their fans into thinking well, they sack Maresca, maybe we go on to win the league because we've won Champions Leagues that way. But how often does that happen? I'd love someone to do the research on that. Factually, we've had the most injuries in the Prem this season, and we're on the same points at this stage. It's not rocket science. We are not as good. People will call this an excuse. It's called context. Andrew here says Arsenal will have to play a release clause in the summer, and other teams can change his mind. So he didn't reject Liverpool because we didn't go in for him. I'm talking about him rejecting Liverpool in the summer in the title, my friend. It was very clear. If you watch the video,
he got rejected by Zubimendi. Just get over it. Khalas, guys. Stop making this bullshit excuse.
Yeah, sorry about the title.
We got rejected, and it's the reality.
Interesting observation. Man United fans condoned Ten Hag publicly for saying Sancho wasn't working hard enough in training. Almiron got praised for doing the same thing. I understand where you're coming from. And I feel as though what everybody said at the time was, if you do that, you better win. You better come out on top. And it remains to be seen whether Almiron has done that as a case in point. The situation is also different. Amorim has just come in. He hasn't been there for a long period of time and fouled in the league with or without Jadon Sancho as an example. So a lot of people saw it. I'm not a big fan of it personally. I'm really not. But if you actually listen to what Amorim said, it was more than one player. And then he spoke about everybody has to adhere to standards. He also praised the individuals afterwards and said they're going to be given chances to get back into the team. So if we want to get really pernickety, the circumstance, the context, the words he used, the tone on his face, the things he said, and the treatment of the players afterwards was very, very different. He isn't making Marcus Rashford and Garnacho eat their lunch in the car park. There is a fundamental difference in that approach, my friend. But I still rather things be kept in-house. I stand by that. Any manager who spends 5 seasons and over 700 million at a club is expected to win trophies. No expectations.
No exception. I agree. This is fact.
I agree. I think that's absolutely. I mean, no exception. Sorry. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I agree, Husam. But the notion of regressing is factually not true. We are literally on the same points, so it's more on Liverpool playing well than us playing crap. Also, congrats on the engagement.
Yeah, but once again, Tony, you're missing the point. First of all, thank you, but you're missing my point. My point is, we all said if City fall off, Arsenal are supposed to be the team that takes advantage. You didn't take advantage, even with Saka being there. That's why Arsenal fans are disappointed, and rightfully so. You can still win this league. We'll see what happens tonight.
Yeah, tonight's a massive one. We will be talking about that in a minute as well. Top players want to join because of our manager. What a terrible problem to have. Moving on slightly, thank you for all the super chats so far. I really appreciate it. Moving on from that, big story today from, why do I forget his name? Fabrice Hawkins. That £50 million is what will be demanded. But Arsenal, Spurs, and Man United are monitoring Brian Mbeumo. And there is the potential, if the money is met, for him to move in this window. Now, I would say all of those teams need an attacker. Man United and Spurs were looking at Kolo Muani. He has gone to Juve. How good a signing could this be for each of those 3 clubs? Arsenal would deem right now with the bookmakers to be the favourites in this. Could it happen? How good a player is he? And where do you think he'll end up? I'll go to Mo first on this one.
Sorry, can you just mention the 3 clubs again? Because I didn't hear that part. Arsenal and? Man
United, Tottenham, and Arsenal.
Okay, it's a no-brainer. Brian Mbeumo should choose Arsenal without a shadow of a doubt. He should not choose Man United or Tottenham Hotspur without a shadow of a doubt. Arsenal are in a better place right now. Okay, it's not even a comparable place between Tottenham, Man United, and Arsenal Football Club. Arsenal are challenging for titles, and the team is in a good place. And I think if he's just choose, he has to choose Arsenal without a shadow of a doubt. He's going to work with better players. He's going to work under better manager at the current moment, which is Mikel Arteta. I think it's a no-brainer. However, is Brian Mbeumo going to be the striker for Arsenal or the right winger for Saka? If Arsenal pull this off and convince Brian Mbeumo to come in and be as someone who plays on the left or the right, I think actually that would be a fantastic signing for Arsenal in this January transfer window. He can help them win the Premier League this season. He's a fantastic player. But I still think that Arsenal need a prolific striker. And when I mean a prolific striker, an actual number 9. Brian Mbeumo is not a number 9. He comes from the right side all the time at Brentford. If Arsenal are getting Mbeumo and a number 9, I would say they go back to be a team that is, we're going to say here, Liverpool should be a little bit afraid of. But there is no brainer, to be honest, that he should join Arsenal. If he's to choose between Man United and Spurs and Arsenal, there is no question here. It needs to happen now. Arsenal need 2 signings up top. They need a winger, which can be Brian Mbeumo, and they need a striker. They can go get Vlahovic on loan. They can go trigger Osimhen release clause. They can go try to negotiate with some other player and land them now because they need signing to save their season now. In case Kai Havertz continue with this form, it's seriously. I genuinely think, and also the problem. I think that Arsenal should go also for Semenyo, but that's for another day. I said that yesterday. But Brian Mbeumo to Arsenal is fantastic. But will Brentford let go of him in this January transfer window?
No, they will not.
So you're crashing it right away.
No, but they won't, because here's the thing. Let's start with Mbeumo. Yes, Brentford are a selling club. Yes, the player can force his way out. But the reason why I don't think they eventually sell him in January is they're going to ask for a lot of money more. Meaning, You want Mbeumo Habibi? Okay, you can have him. Yalla, bring 80 million. Who's paying 80 million?
The
for Mbeumo in
reports
January?
are 50 million only, akhi.
Yeah, okay. You believe that shit? They ain't gonna say yes to 50. How many goals does Mbeumo have? Doesn't he have like already 10 Premier League goals or something?
Yes, he does have double digits. If not
Yeah, he has
13,
double-digit
yeah.
goals. They ain't gonna let go of him for cheap. 13 actually. Oh yeah, they're definitely not gonna let go of him for 50 million.
13. I think what I read 13 goals this season. It might
13,
be.
yeah.
Do
they definitely ain't
Sam,
gonna
do you
let go.
actually think that Mbeumo suits Arsenal? Okay, let me put the context for you out. He plays in a team that averaged less than 50% possession, which Arsenal average way more. Arsenal more of a possession-based team. He plays in a two-striker formation in Brentford. Do you think Arsenal need Mbeumo, or they need a number 9 and an out winger like a Semenyo or someone like that?
I think they need both, mate. I think they need both, mate, right now. They need goal scorers, they need difference makers up top. But once again, bro, these clubs need these players. And I know they're willing to sell. I know this. I'm not gonna be sit up here and be disingenuous. Oh, are they gonna sell? No, of course they're willing to sell. I know they're selling clubs. I know these players can force themselves out, but it's about the asking price. Because in January, you have to pay more unless the player wants out, like Kvaradona. He wanted out of Napoli, you got him on a cheap. That's the thing that, like, you know, disagreement with the manager.
Two things on that. You are right. It's going to be 50. They're talking about Brentford want 50 million for him. That's Fabrice Hawkins said that these 3 clubs are monitoring him. They know that it's difficult, but what Brentford would ask for is 50 million. And I know a lot of people don't like the journalist talk around when they say things like monitoring. We all know what that means, though, is they're looking at the options. They're talking to agents, intermediaries. For me, the one thing on the side of all 3 clubs looking at him is that his contract expires in 2026. It states as an option to extend it for a year, but it still means he's in the last 2 years of his contract by the end of this season. And I feel as soon as some bigger clubs, no disrespect, Brentford come in, Tottenham are definitely one of them. Man United certainly are, and Arsenal with where they sit currently right now as well. Of course, their history. If his head gets turned, he probably isn't going to sign a new deal with them. So therefore, you get into a realm of I think they can add a bit more money this January, but as you hit the summer and then the following January and then the following summer, you're starting to lose that value each and every single time. So I don't think it would be an exorbitant amount of money to sign him. It's whether or not the clubs see value in that. And I like the player. I hope Man United get this done. I'd love to get him. But the one fear I have is that he plays in a team and he does well on counter-attacks. And Man United right now, that might suit us. Like my team right now.
Yes.
No, I agree. But I'm also thinking about what we're trying to become and dominating the ball more. And we will still play. Let's be honest. You'll see it tomorrow night against Southampton. We're still going to play the vast majority of our games against teams that sit in low blocks, even now. Most teams are not going to open up and attack us, especially at Old Trafford. So my one worry about him, and that's going to all 3 clubs, is the volume of teams that sit back against them, especially Arsenal and especially Tottenham with the way they play. I'm just concerned. That's my only concern is, does he have the room to operate? Does he have the room to work in? And that's why I think clubs are thinking £50 million. If he was doing this if he was doing this at Tottenham, I think everybody would say, well, we can see him doing it for a big team, a team that people sit back against and they defend low because of the attack. They'd probably say, well worth the 50. I think there's that element of, what if he goes to a club like Arsenal and then in tight spaces, flops, doesn't score? I always had that over Jamie Vardy. I thought Jamie Vardy's excellent. I always felt that the worst thing Vardy could have done is joined a team that everybody sits back against and there's no room. We saw for England. When he played for England, there was no room to run into, less of a player. And that's my only concern about the Mbeumo deal. I just think, will he have the space to operate? So £50 million seems a good price for the goals, but can he do it in a team where the approach is different? I'm
50 million
Can
pounds.
I want to ask Terry a question before you come in? I want to ask a Terry question. Terry, if you are in Mbeumo now and you're between Man United, Arsenal, and Spurs, which club would you advise him to join?
This is the shittest question.
No, I just out of curiosity.
This is the shittest question. The dumbest question. Dumbest question.
Out of curiosity, I'm asking a Man United fan. I'm not asking.
No, because the answer is very simple. I'll tell you Terry's answer and everyone's correct answer.
Yeah, let him answer. Are you going to dictate what he says?
Stop it. خلاص. Stop asking these
Terry,
questions.
do you agree? I want Terry to nod.
Yes,
Terry agrees, let him nod. No, I'm not
Terry
gonna
agrees.
bet. I just want
Bet
Terry.
anything
I
you
want
want.
to
Terry
see.
agrees. That
Yeah,
Arsenal,
Habibi, let him
United, and
talk.
Man
Don't dictate what he says, Terry.
Go ahead,
No,
Terry. Don't lie. You know you agree.
He's
Don't
not
lie.
holding you hostage, Terry. This is your channel.
No,
It's
I'm not holding
It's
him
not.
hostage, but that's
Terry,
the only
just
correct
not.
opinion.
Ya
You fraud.
Allah.
You
Let
know
him talk.
better.
Let him talk. Let
Terry,
him
do
talk.
not lie. You're a man of honor. Say this.
What he's not gonna. Don't pressure the guy. Let him
No,
talk.
but it's reality. Obviously, you would rather join Arsenal
It
now.
is your
and in
opinion,
second
you
place,
fraud.
Man United. In
Ya
third place,
Habibi,
Spurs.
Ya
This is
Habibi,
the
this is your
dumbest question.
opinion. Ya Habibi, this is your opinion. Let the man answer for himself.
Yalla, let Terry answer. Yalla, go ahead, Terry.
Man United, of course, like 100%. Why would he not pick the biggest team in the world?
You're a fraud, and you know you're joking. Right? Say that all the time.
Listen, on a real level, but this is the problem with it, right? In my head, right? No, because it's multi-layered, right? So of course I'm biased because I view my club in a specific way. I think Man United have got a tremendous chance of getting him for who we are, who our current manager is, what we're trying to build. Arsenal, a better team than us right now. Yes, we beat them at the weekend. Beautiful, amazing. They're a better team than us right now. But interestingly, you two have sat here for an hour talking about why they've got to sack their manager, their Arteta FC, and they're going to keep him. Based on both of your logic, that the club just cares about keeping Arteta, they're scared to take risks. Your logic dictates you should pick Man United because you're talking like Arsenal are going backwards because they're sticking with the wrong manager. So as much as you two are going to sit here and put it on me to say there's no way you can put Man United first, you guys have just said that Arsenal should be sacking their manager. They're not, and therefore that's horrendous. So why should he join a club that you think's being run horrendously?
Okay, I'll tell you why. Because there's levels to this. Arsenal should be disappointed that they aren't winning the league. You're 13th. And Spurs, there's no need for us to explain why they're in third place in that conversation because they're Tottenham Hotspur. That alone is enough explanation. You get me? So let's not even go there. But when it comes to Arsenal, listen, there's levels to this. This is reality. If you tell me should a player rather join Liverpool or Man City or Arsenal, I'd say Man City is probably the most attractive club in England right now, in my opinion. I'd probably put us second, and third would probably be Arsenal. So that's the honest thing. But when it comes to this conversation, the reason why this guy is a fraud, this Mo guy, Mo, you are a fraud. You ask these questions like there are these deep questions that's so difficult. Bro, Man United are the second biggest club in England. Okay? They're a massive institution. But in this current moment in time, they're going through a rough time. This doesn't mean that they can't attract players. Of course, they can attract Mbeumo. But Mbeumo has the two same exact contracts on his table, Arsenal and Man United. One club is in the Champions League. One club is doing really well. Obviously, he's more going to be tending more to join Arsenal. That's not a disrespect. That's just reality. Now, when it comes to Mbeumo, look, Mbeumo will make a difference to anyone that he joins. 13 goals in the Premier League in 19 games or in 20 games playing for Brentford is no easy feat because Brentford are not this attacking, sexy football team anyway. You know, like you have to struggle to score a goal if you're playing for Brentford because they're more defensive based. They're more like compact. They're more like stuff like this. You know what I mean? So for me, I think whoever gets Mbeumo is going to make a massive difference this season. But I will say I think Spurs need him the least.
No, I understand that. And do you know what I would say on a real level to answer it seriously? Obviously, I said about because it's who we are to wind people up. Arsenal were attractive. I'm not going to say they're not. However, the predominant position that he plays is right wing. And I understand that Saka's injured right now, but Saka will be back. He can play and he has played in the central striker role and in the support striker role. Arsenal don't use a support striker. So he may get opportunities in the centre forward area. What I would be pitching into him is that Man United look, we're looking like we might sell Garnacho. We're looking like Rashford is going to leave. Ahmad's done very, very well, but he can play in either one of those 10 roles or in the right wing-back position. I feel like Man United have more of an opening and an opportunity for him to have regular first-team football than Arsenal do right now. Unless Arsenal view him as a centre forward. But then what I'd also be dripping into his ear is that Arsenal will link with signing an out-and-out number 9 either this January or in the summer. So therefore, you're not going to be the number 9 and Saka's the right-hand side attacker. Now, there's nothing wrong with this, by the way. If he says, you know what? I fancy being the backup at Arsenal. I'll still play 30, 40 games in a season. I'll still start a number of matches. I'll still come on and be impactful. That makes sense. And I wouldn't be gutted because I know where my club is right now. However, I think if you're a good salesperson, if you understand the player, you learn what motivates them, we probably have more of an opening in our first team than Arsenal do right now. And that could play a significant part in convincing a player to join us over Arsenal. So that would be a real answer to the question. But I'll be honest with you, if all three go in for him proper, he picks either Arsenal or Man United over Tottenham. And that's not a dig. That's just, I couldn't imagine why you wouldn't, unless both Man United and Arsenal say, yeah, you're going to be a squad player for us. And again, if Spurs say you're a first teamer, he might pick them over us because first team football for a lot of players is more important as an example. But yeah, I like him at the club. The only caveat I'm throwing out there that worries me is how is he going to cope against teams that sit back? That's my only real concern. Some super chats here says, I'd say if Arteta gets his striker in the summer and then fails to win from there, I'd say let's talk Arteta in this moment. In this moment, nope.
Kevin, I bet everything I have you didn't say this last summer.
Maybe. Let us know, Tevin. He suits Newcastle more than all the... Listen, Newcastle on that right-hand side with Gordon on the other, Isak up front. It would be a brilliant signing for Newcastle.
Bloody hell, that would be a scary front.
It would be a brilliant signing for Newcastle. You're right.
Isak and Mbeumo Gordon. Yeah, just give it up.
Any chance Arteta would try Saka on the left wing? Maybe. And the two where I say maybe.
He could stay there.
But even you think he's left-footed in Mbeumo. I still want to see a club try. If Arsenal were to go and sign an out-and-out 9, I'd love to see a team we thought we were going to see Arteta try this with Martinelli, and he just stopped doing it. But putting a right-footed player on the right and a left-footed player on the left and just seeing them trying to cut balls back to a number 9, I just want to see someone try it. I really do. This here, Arteta has had his issues, but you guys enjoy hate. Is what
yes, an Inter Milan fan and a Liverpool fan.
And don't hate Arteta. And actually, Terry said something wrong that I think they should sack Arteta now. No, the conversation happened at the end of the season, not today. If they sack Arteta today, they're actually take it even worse now.
Sorry,
so not now.
I apologize for misrepresenting you, Mo. Sorry, sir.
It's all right. It's all right.
Arteta himself won the FA Cup when Emery was sacked mid-season. Been a gunner for 29 years, and now I have to back time wasters and dark arts. Listen, Ricky, I understand where you're coming from, and I don't think Arsenal. I think Arsenal are in a position where sacking a manager could yield trophies at any point because a new voice comes in, rejuvenates the squad. Very good squad. When I was referring to the Chelsea fan talking earlier, I don't think Chelsea are in a position to do that right now. When you've got a good structure, when you've built a very good team, absolutely you can do that. However, for continuity, I wouldn't have that as sort of like top of the priority list. If we're ever struggling in the season, let's just sack a manager and then hope we win something and just throw someone in. So you've got to get the balance right. But I do hear you. Listen, if Arteta was sacked tomorrow and you brought in Xabi Alonso, I don't think Arsenal are going backwards. If you go and get a very good manager after Arteta, I don't think you're going backwards. But again, I don't care if you do or you don't. I'm not an Arsenal fan, but I hear you, Ricky. I really do. Terry, I love how you use the word specificity. I love the word specificity. I love that word. Specificity. It's brilliant. I don't know who I heard say it. I heard someone on a podcast say it. When they were debating, and he went, just slow it down and give me some more specificity. And I went, oh, I love that. I love a word. Could Arteta play a 3-5-2 with a cam? Saka plays right wing back.
That'll be the worst idea.
He won't.
That'll be the worst idea in the universe.
He won't. Mo, the majority of Arsenal fans don't want Arteta sacked. X and YouTube aren't representative of the fan base.
Yeah, fair enough. But the problem is now that some of the fan base in the stadium are turning on him. That is my take. I know what you guys are saying, that the majority don't, but some of the people that go to stadiums told us. Like I was speaking to Dylan yesterday, who goes to the stadium. He said in the penalty shootout, he said that the majority of the Arsenal fans left even before the penalty shootout ended. That never happened.
Sonny, you can never dictate to me how I support the club ever. I'll celebrate when we win the league because Slot did it in spite of FSG. That's just the truth. Just like Klopp did it in spite of FSG, not because of.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I want to thank everyone who's tuned in. A huge amount of super chats today, so I want to thank everyone that has done
There's
that.
one last one, just so you don't forget, because he is going to be really upset. We got Mina. This is Mina, one of our boys.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Sorry. He says, who? Sorry, I didn't see that. Who has the worst owners? Liverpool, United, Arsenal.
Can I give the ranking and then we end the stream? Liverpool worst, Inter second, third United, fourth Arsenal, fifth Bayern. Done.
There we go. Everyone who's tuned in, I want to thank each and every single one of you. This is going to redirect you to Judge Mo's channel, so go and support the show over there. Go and give it a like. Go and give it a sub. Just go and get that done, please. We're back tonight after the North London derby. I'm excited about this one. It's going to be a great game, I think.
Come on, you Spurs!
Until next time, everyone, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon.